Karen Moses, our awesome host, is going to say a couple words.
Hi, welcome. Just welcome to the Journal, and we're pleased that we can host this because obviously we want to thank the Attorney General's office for putting these on. It's an issue that we feel very strongly about. Obviously, you do too because you're here and centrally located. So it's great to see this great turnout, and I'm just real pleased that we have this many people who care about this issue as much as we do. I see a lot of Journal faces I know, and others I don't. But again, just welcome to the Journal. We're pleased to host this. I'm not going to be able to stay, but I'll be hearing from others kind of what you cover. I have to admit, Editor Kent Walls did say, now, do you think they'll do anything about texting? Which is that big issue that's out there right now, or at least one of them, in terms of what's public and what's not. But especially when everyone's got their own, the government phones. And so that is kind of a question.
What about apples? Do we have apples?
Oh, I'll be really interested to hear what all you cover, because there's just so much right now that's going on. In addition to the traditional problems that we keep running into, there's just a whole new, out there. So welcome, and
well, thank you.
Attorney General?
Yeah, I just want to say a few words of kind of why we're here, I guess. Obviously, related to this turnout, it's impressive for me. This idea came about really out of two critical areas. The first is that we're not going anywhere, and neither are you, in terms of transparency, in terms of covering the truth, and we service the same constituencies in the end. So that was the first real motivation to try to just get in front of this constituency, have a real honest dialogue with you about how we see the law and how you see the law. Because a lot of times when pressure points like cases, tensions, you'll ask for information. We have a position. I would rather us talk about those positions before these type of cases or situations arise. So we're just trying to be proactive, and my staff actually came up with this idea about why not do a forum or a training so that we can get on the same page with the law and the rule of law, and as it relates to your business and our business, understanding that we serve the same citizenry and constituency. The second, of course, is we did a legislative training, and we're trying to service certain constituencies that seem to have certain perspectives. And actually, this turnout was much better. And I fundamentally have told many people, and I'll tell the press corps the same thing, there are major blind spots in transparency, not only as it relates to these areas of law, but also how these areas of law actually play out with the governing bodies that impact what they turn over and what they don't turn over to you. I have some ideas, but I would be irresponsible to not check in with certain constituencies on what reforms need to take place to truly have true enforcement and accountability across the state of New Mexico. And I'll just throw out a couple that I've come across from my own personal experiences. The first is there is no certified custodian of officer or of custodian officers related to agencies, and there's no consistency, and there's no resources in terms of investing those professionals. So depending on your IPA request, you could have a completely different result based on whoever management puts in the front line in interpreting your request. Guess how many dollars were invested in that process just in this last year? Zero. So if we want true transparency across the board, and we don't want to just continue to have the same critiques, I'm going to be asking for actual resources to certify, qualify, and put some professional standards in custodian of officers. That way you're not just stuck fighting with management after the story has passed or after you've received the records that you guys have received. Secondly, true accountability as it relates to incentives and punitive measures. So for instance, we don't know how much agencies should be charging citizens for documents. Why isn't that something that has been legislated in law by now? And until we have those kind of discussions, we're going to have blind spots throughout the state of New Mexico. My self-interest is that as these blind spots get addressed and members of the press corps and active citizens all get on the same page with these reforms, it makes my job a lot easier when it comes to enforcement. Why are there no fines for agencies that purposely don't comply with these laws? Is it something that is going to take, litigation is very expensive. Both civil and criminal is extremely expensive, yet the general public doesn't know that I don't have adequate teeth in some of these other areas. So for selfish reasons, this training is to also begin to establish a real dialogue for an AG agenda related to closing some of these blind spots. And who better to get some feedback from the press corps who sees these blind spots every day as you're reporting. That's kind of it in a nutshell. Welcome. This will be many. Tanya is the head of Open Government Division, and but is also sitting with me, and we're trying to identify legislation where we can truly make New Mexico more transparent and have real, true accountability. The other area that I'll close with is we are in a data crisis. I can tell you New Mexico can barely balance its books and does very poorly in what records they retain and how they process it according to rule of law. I saw this as state auditor. So not only do you have a custodian of records crisis situation in the professionals that are handling these requests, our systems of recording and retaining and processing data is antiquated severely. So until we truly set legal standards in how we manage data and how we test, how we maintain that data, it's a crapshoot as it relates to whether or not these agencies are really maintaining these records appropriately and adequately according to rule of law, therefore truly making them available to you. And so that is important to really communicate to management the sense of urgency. Right now there's no statutory mandates for testing data and risks to attacks and vulnerable threats to that data management system. And so when you talk email retention, we're barely scratching the surface of whether or not those systems truly are being managed in a way that protects that data and makes it truly available to you. So these are all just larger crisis questions that I want to raise to the press corps, that it is more than just the AG waiting for a lawsuit to be brought on the state agency, that we have some systemic failures as it relates to public records. And I hope to maybe have a more serious dialogue with you. So Tanya, just come on up and I'll let you start this. And then we're open for questions as the training moves forward. Thank you. Come on up, Tanya.
Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause.
I sincerely appreciate this great turnout. I can't tell you how long we've been hoping to have this training, and how in the process of putting together this training and speaking with the few of you that I've had, that we feel that it's so important not only to educate the public about these laws that we specifically deal with, but also to educate you all who are reporting upon it and to give you the best information possible so that we can work together in giving all of the citizens of New Mexico the most accurate information.